So, in case you guys missed it, Riot issued another competitive ruling banning a player by the name of Carelessd for one tournament. And this was because he forfeited in a 1v1 during the final moments of Ladder Snapshot. If you don't know what Ladder Snapshot is, we take the top X players, usually it's top 25, and then we advance them directly to Tacticians Cup number 3. So effectively you get 2 days of competition by. It's a really big deal. Not playing in Tactician Trials, rather, is a huge boon to improve your chance to win the tournament. And so a lot of people are always gunning for it. The thing about it is that Carelessd forfeited during the last climb that Precedent was trying to make up. And Precedent was behind, and so it obviously benefited him. But Precedent obviously claims that he doesn't know Carelessd, he didn't ask for it, so no association with it. Riot said, quote, Carelessd has been officially disqualified from the Tacticians Trials and Cup due to a violation of Rule 911, which states, or sorry, 9.1.1. Might as well be 911. Players are expected to play at their best at all times within any match and to avoid any behavior that potentially threatens the actual or perceived integrity of competition. It's an important word. And that is otherwise inconsistent with the principles of good sportsmanship, honesty, and fair play. Violating this rule will be subject to penalties at the discretion of the tournament administrators. Also, another really important phrase. All decisions regarding violations are at the sole discretion of the league. Oof. It was observed during the ranked match on Sunday, October 6th, in the hours preceding the Tacticians Cup 3 snapshot that Carelessd forfeited a game that was seconds from completion and victory. This was a direct breach of competitive integrity expectations. As the rule outlines, players are expected to give their best effort throughout any match. Forfeiting a match undermines the fairness and integrity of the tournament. As a result, this decision has been made to maintain the high standards and principles of fair play that are fundamental to competition. Please be reminded that all players are held accountable for actions taken on accounts. And so this is Riot citing that they have the right to punish people based on their own discretion, which is completely true. Also, it's not just the actual or it's the perceived integrity of competition. And I think that's what is the key to this. Like, they are technically within their rights to punish it. Oh, I forgot to write the second part here. Carelessd defended his actions, saying that his girlfriend won the FF and there's no win trading. Other players attached past instances where they screenshot him talking in chat with players to negotiate comps. So, for example, Carelessd said, my girlfriend did that, not for the win trade, she just wants me to lose. Keen says, is this your girlfriend too? And talks about how he, like, talks with people in chat, like, you know, basically pivoting, trying not to play contested, negotiating with people in chat. Carelessd officially replied, if you think that means win trade, ban me, LMAO. And so Riot did. It does feel like a couple of things going on. One, I don't think his actions speak to me as if he was win trading, but I do think that he's, well, being careless. I do think that he was kind of an idiot about it. Like, in these final moments during the snapshot, you should be more aware of what's going on. So even if his intention wasn't to win trade, what the reality is, it does tamper with integrity. And there's just things that you can't do, even if it's not what you're trying to do. That being said, there's a lot of problematic things about this ban because it sets a weird precedent of inconsistency in the future, because there's a lot of people who do troll ladder. There's a lot of people who intentionally grief. There's a lot of people who are actually even doing things that mess and tamper with perceived integrity of competition. There's people queuing up on Smurfs. There's people who queue up to, quote, defend, right? It's kind of an inside joke amongst high elo right now that in the final hours leading the snapshot, if you want to play solo queue, you're also defending your friends or defending people or like gatekeeping people from getting to snapshot. Raptor says it's not a joke. It's okay. What I mean is like, it's like a tongue-in-cheek joke. It's like they're not trying to make it. They're not actually trying to play defense in the sense that they're trying to intentionally greet someone, but they're trying to queue up and they are trying to effectively win and stop people from trying to climb as fast as they can, right? And there's a little bit of like, oh man, no one's playing defense. No one's playing defense, right? So there's actually a lot of buffoonery and a lot of actual integrity of competition that is being tampered with. And so the dangerous thing about Riot did here is that they now are kind of in a spot where there's going to be either one, a lot of people reporting and should report other things that are going to be, you know, inconsistent with the principle of good sportsmanship, honesty, and fair play. Or two, they're just going to be giant hypocrites moving forward. And it almost comes down to like, who is the more clouded people that are getting Riot's attention, and it almost felt like, and I'm gonna try to navigate this as carefully as possible, but it felt like people just didn't like Carelessd. They feel like he's like an annoying player to go up against, and they don't like his personality, and so it felt like an easy bandwagon for a lot of people to just be like, well, here are all the other different things of like instances of you like doing things that are kind of suspect on ladder, but they weren't in tournament situations. They were in like ranked play, and they were during like non-snapshot crucial time zones. So it did feel a little bit, it felt a little bit targeted, or rather like I didn't like the way it felt like people were ganging up on Carelessd in that spot. Now granted, his attitude doesn't help him at all. If you look at these screenshots, like he's obviously antagonistic, right? Types "so what," and he calls people pigs, right? Like this is not very diplomatic. It's not very good to convince people to come on your side. Also, apparently he was also talking like he's also like talking to rioters, like Iniko, also a top challenger player, right? And flaming people. So his general attitude and demeanor does not do him any favors. But kind of getting back to the main point, despite all of this, I don't think this punishment is warranted. I think this is actually very extreme. I think that Riot is almost trying to make an example out of Carelessd to warn other people, like, hey, if you are also going to do some buffoonery that's caught, right? Like part of the issue is that this has happened many times in the past, and like we've actually had watch parties. We've had snapshot watch parties in the past where people have literally done this. And we were like, and chat reacts like, that's really sus. Like it's snapshot, like there's people forfeiting. And then, but the thing is, we don't know those people. They aren't entering a tournament. There's a lot of like weird stuff happening all the time during these snapshot hours. And so it becomes like, who's reporting it? And if they are reporting it, is Riot going to punish all of them? Otherwise, it kind of creates like a ton of inconsistencies. And then it's like the whole joke of like, well, some people are just running it down. You know, there's a lot of people. There's someone in my comments who made a joke like, you know, where are the eyes on this case? Milk says, I would also like to report some suspicious activity. This Soju guy goes off stream, says Suko stop streaming Soju plus 400 LP. And then he references a very obvious time when Soju joked, someone needs to boost me. Like I saw this message because I'm also in this Discord server, and he was clearly joking. So anybody who takes this seriously, don't be an idiot. And so there's like instances where this is obviously a joke, but there are some times when it's not a joke. There are some people that are going to be doing these kinds of things. And so there's a lot of problems going on with ladder right now. Maybe you guys don't care for the most part. There's probably like a small subject of people that care. But the reality is right now, ladder integrity is actually quite low. And I think that there's like a big problem with sitting culture. I don't like the way Riot incentivizes people to just park their accounts, and then you're disincentivized to play. And the only thing, so for you guys don't know, they basically take a screenshot, that's what they call a snapshot, of people who are top ranked every week, and they give you points based off of your standings. And then if you have enough points over the course of the season, right, you get invited directly to the regional championship. So like this is like week 5, this is week 6, and I think we're about to do week 7 and 8. And so what ends up happening is people end up just not playing because they don't want to risk running down their LP, because you're not always going to have high quality lobbies. It's TFT. Sometimes your games are unplayable and you take a 7th or an 8th, you lose a bunch of LP, right? Like look at Toronto Tokyo. 1900 goes on a little bit of a cold streak, instantly loses 300 LP. Nobody wants that. So a lot of players just sit, and then they choose to play on Smurf accounts instead. They share Smurf accounts because not everyone wants to grind through, you know, silver, gold, plat, emerald, diamond, masters, and they just want to get high quality games. They want to practice, and so there's already like a ton of bad competitive integrity on ladder, a ton. So why do we draw the line here? Probably because of a couple things. The first is that this was publicized, right? Like the fact is people know about this, and it was directly reported into the actual channel. There's a report of blatant win trading. It looks like Nikhil said, is there anything that can be done about the blatant win trading during snapshots? And he posted this clip. And so he reported it, to which a bunch of people responded. Preston obviously like, you're a weirdo if it's blatant win trading. I also played him 5 times and he outplaced me so many times during that day. And then, you know, he's saying it's like nothing to do with you. It's just actual win trading going on. And obviously this is the joke. And so we're coming to the point where it's going to be like a bunch of people reporting each other, or either that or Riot's going to look stupid again for setting a precedent that they're not actually going to be able to enforce. It's almost like the same as if they say they're going to ban stats and then, you know, half the people are still going to use stats, but you just can't catch all of them. It's like something that's not enforceable. So that's kind of where we're at. This is basically the latest chapter of the NA competitive integrity drama. So we banned our 3rd player now. The 2nd player being Setsuko, and the first is actually the irony of it was that Nikhil actually was one of the players that got banned. If you guys missed it, this guy was the dude who got banned for leaving in the middle of the game due to the NBA All-Star game because his Samira hero augment didn't actually give him gold. This is a long time ago. Basically, if you click the hero augment back in the day and there were no units in the pool, it would just convert to gold. And so he picked the hero augment, it turned into gold, and he just left the game. Oh, actually, there was one other person that was banned as well. Sphinx for intentionally griefing somebody because he like broke his Heartsteel loose streak or something like that. So I guess we've had 4 incidents now. But I think if they're gonna do something like this, they're gonna have to do it way more often. Otherwise, this feels like performative. This feels like reactionary just because everyone kind of ganged up on Carelessd in chat. Not everyone, but a lot of people did. So that's pretty much it for the most part. Okay. Oh, right. So my take. I think this is a little bit too extreme. I think that they shouldn't have done this. I think they should have done like a severe warning saying anybody caught doing anything like this during ladder snapshot area, right? They can't define it because they're like the last 3 hours and people are going to do it at 4 hours out or whatever. I think they need to do a severe like a harsh warning and say like, if this happens again, we are going to punish it. But yeah, I guess they decided to make an example out of him. Poor guy. Guy outplays precedent multiple times, same day, gains fucking nothing for FFing, and just gets a tournament ban for FFing a solo queue game. Am I missing something? Well, I mean, that's pretty much it, right? It feels extremely heavy-handed to me. And just so you know, this is apparently being handed down directly from Riot and not the tournament organizers. Some people might be saying like, oh, this is the tournament organizers. Like, you got the admins this, admins that. Dude, the admins are just doing their job. Would doing snapshots every day reduce the normality of sitting culture? I don't think so. I think that sitting culture, I think they need to revamp a lot of ladder snapshots. Personally, one thing I'm advocating for is to reduce the impact of ladder. Use ladder as what it's intended to do, which is a proving ground, not a qualification ground. Using ladder because what they're basically doing is ladder is now a tournament. It's a tournament because it's qualification for day 3 of the tactician's trials, which is like you get to skip playing against all of these people. Instead, if you're one of these 25 people, or if you're in LATAM 10 people, it's Brazil 17 people, you just skip playing against all these people, and there's a lot of good ones. Kurum, Ramblin, Pokegam, Dark Noob, Pressivin, Kyun. You don't have to play against any of them. So ladder snapshots is a tournament now. Like, I know people say it's just ranked, but the way that it should be treated as is competitive integrity and into a tournament. It's just a tournament that's played asynchronously. You get to play hundreds of games instead of just like 6 or 12, and you get to play in your own time. I guess I said asynchronously. So just rank 1, by the way. What a time to be alive. He's back. 3 sets later, he's back. So I think de-emphasizing the need, like, ladder to make it so it's like it's like a top 20, whatever, top 10, because it creates a dynamic of what we're talking about, where people are just gonna be sitting. They also increase the number of days for DK, so you can literally sit for an entire patch. Replay, I mean, he's a great player that qualifies for all these tournaments anyways. But replay, I believe, literally sat the entire patch. I think he literally sat for 14 days straight because he like timed his delay to not actually, or his decay to not actually have to play a single game. And it came down to like the last LP. He was like on a tiebreaker. If he had one more LP less or fewer, he would have actually not made it. So and good for him, right? He's playing the system. I'm not it's not about him. I'm using an example of how people are just going to navigate around it, and it creates really bad incentives for the rest of ladder. So I've been advocating for Riot to do super server, reduce the number of slots, And the cool thing about Super Server is that it kind of encourages everyone to play. Everyone's very self-absorbed as opposed to like,
Man,
hey, we can all make it, right? There's a little bit of a inside joke within players like, hey, we can all make it. Like these people are all coincidentally within like the same 3 practice groups. I mean, is that a coincidence or not? Maybe, maybe not. But it just so happens to be like a ton of people part of Soju's group, part of people of Weijin and Ripple and Toronto Tokyo, and then there happens to be a lot of PMD folks. Actually, there's a 4th group. There's like the Goobums and Asa and all of them. It's just like I think it's only going to get worse as the stakes increase, as it becomes more competitive and more difficult to qualify as people get better at the game, and Tactician's Trials becomes trickier and trickier to qualify through. So it's just going to be a problem, I think, moving forward. What is Super Server? I can show you. So Super Server is 1 week of competition. It's only open for a certain amount of hours a day. You start on brand new accounts, and the top performing people qualify to regionals this way. If you are a person that gets top 9, you go directly to the group stage. And if you get top 4, you qualify to the regional semifinals, which I think is like the equivalent of day 2 of regionals. You get to skip this group stage and go straight to here, and you play another group stage. And so it's an extremely long, it's like a 5-day long grind for Super Server. How long was it? Oh, actually, it was only 3-4 days. Okay. But like they only open for like 6 hours, something like that. And you climb as high as you can. And then, and they even played a tournament at the end of it. They took the top performing Super Server people and had them play in a small tournament, which looks like Kuds, Ice, Ningli, and White did really well. Oh my God. Oh my God. Robin songs 11511. All right. So, we'll see what ends up happening, but